All right, ready to dive deep into personal finance today.
Sounds good to me.
And you've given us some really interesting sources to work with.
Yeah.
It's like you're ready to not just manage money,
Mm,
but really understand how it all works,
right.
and especially like your own relationship with it.
Yeah, definitely a smart move.
It is a smart
For
move.
sure.
We've got insights from behavioral economists,
Okay.
personal finance gurus, and get this,
Yeah.
even some parenting advice
Oh, wow.
from Warren Buffett's banker.
Talk about an inside scoop.
I know, right?
Yeah.
So let's jump right in with Vicki Robin,
Okay.
who wrote Your Money or Your Life.
Mm-hmm.
In one of her talks, she mentions leading a workshop
Okay.
where every single person, different ages, different incomes,
Right.
all admitted to feeling some fear about money.
Oh.
Does that resonate with you at all?
Yeah, I think it does.
It makes you realize it's a pretty common thing.
It really is, and there's a reason for that.
Oh, is there?
Yeah. Nobel Prize-winning economist Daniel Kahneman
Okay.
calls it narrow framing.
Yeah.
Basically, our brains tend to get stuck in this short-term thinking when it comes to money.
Yeah.
Like, imagine you're trying to decide whether to pay off debt
Hmm.
or invest.
Right.
If you're only thinking about the immediate relief
Okay.
of lowering your debt,
Yeah.
you might miss out on the long-term benefits
Right.
of investing early.
Oh, so it's like
Yeah.
that classic marshmallow experiment with kids, right?
Exactly.
Choosing the immediate gratification instead of waiting for something better down the line.
Yeah, and those snap judgments
Yeah.
can sometimes lead to financial decisions we regret later.
That makes sense.
It's like having tunnel vision,
Uh-huh.
when you should be looking at the whole financial panorama.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
That's where I think Robin's idea of financial freedom comes in.
Okay.
She talks about 4 layers.
Mm-hmm.
And the first one is freedom of the mind.
Freedom of the mind.
It is.
That's an intriguing concept, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
Robin describes it as becoming sovereign over your finances,
Okay.
not letting the economy control you.
I see.
She talks about escaping waste slavery,
Oh.
which, if I'm being honest,
Yeah.
I think we've all felt that pressure
For sure.
to keep buying more and more, even if we don't need it.
It's a trap a lot of people fall into.
It is.
But when you achieve freedom of the mind,
Okay.
you start to see your relationship with money differently.
How so?
You're in the driver's seat, making choices that align with your values and goals.
Yeah.
And a big part of that is figuring out what truly matters to you.
Totally. It's like, what's the
Yeah.
point of having all this money
Exactly.
if it's not helping you live a life you love?
Exactly. And Robin gets into the practical side, too,
Okay.
with advice on getting out of debt and building an emergency fund.
Mhm.
She tells this amazing story
Oh, really?
about people who managed to eliminate
Yeah.
what they thought was impossible debt simply by connecting their financial goals
Yeah.
to their future aspirations.
That's so powerful.
Yeah,
It's like suddenly saving isn't about deprivation.
right.
It's about unlocking those possibilities.
Right, absolutely. And there's a psychological benefit to it, too.
Okay.
Having savings provides a sense of security and relief.
I can see that.
This ties back to what Kahneman was saying about numeracy,
Okay.
or understanding how numbers work.
Okay.
Knowing how compound interest works is like having a secret weapon,
Mm-hmm.
whether you're saving or borrowing.
Okay, so tell me more about compound interest.
Sure.
Because I feel like a lot of people, myself included,
Yeah.
don't really get it.
It's basically interest earned on interest.
Okay.
Let's say you invest $1,000
Okay.
and earn a 5% return.
Mm-hmm.
The next year, you're not just earning interest
Yeah.
on the original $1,000,
Right.
but also on the $50 you earned in interest.
Oh, okay.
Over time, that can really add up.
Like a snowball effect, right?
It's-
The longer you let it roll, the bigger it gets.
Exactly. And that's why starting to save early,
Okay.
even small amounts, can make a huge difference in the long run.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so saving is important,
Mm-hmm.
but what about spending?
Right.
I think a lot of us struggle with that too.
Yeah, for sure.
And here's something that might surprise you.
What's that?
Spending money on stuff doesn't actually correlate with happiness.
You're referring to the work of Michael Norton,
Yeah.
who studies happiness and spending.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Have you ever bought something you thought would bring you joy,
Oh, yeah.
but it just ended up gathering dust?
Absolutely.
I think we've all been there at some point.
Absolutely. What Norton found is that
Yeah.
while we think material things will make us happy,
Mm-hmm.
experiences and giving to others
Mm.
actually have a much bigger impact on our well-being.
So it's not about depriving ourselves,
Right.
but about spending our money.
Yeah.
in a way that actually aligns with what makes us happy. And that, as you said earlier,
Yeah.
goes back to knowing your values and your purpose.
Exactly. It's all connected.
I love that.
Yeah. But speaking of spending and values,
Okay.
let's talk about how we can teach kids about money.
Hmm?
Get this. We've got some advice straight from Warren Buffett's banker.
Warren Buffett's banker.
Yeah,
That's got to be some next level financial wisdom right
it
there.
really is. And you know what he suggests?
What's that?
He actually thinks it's better for kids to make financial mistakes early on with smaller stakes
Okay.
rather than facing the consequences later in life.
Whoa.
Yeah,
That's a bit counterintuitive.
it is.
Usually we try to protect our kids
Right.
from making mistakes.
Right, but think about it. It's
Yeah.
like learning to ride a bike.
Okay.
You're going to fall a few times
Yeah.
before you get the hang of it.
Right.
The same could be said for money.
Okay.
Letting kids experiment with their allowance, maybe even experience the disappointment of a bad purchase,
Okay.
can teach them valuable lessons about budgeting
Yeah.
and making informed decisions.
It's almost like building financial immunity.
Exist.
Those early experiences
Yeah,
can help them develop a healthy relationship with money
for sure.
and avoid bigger mistakes down the road.
Exactly. And it also helps break down the taboo around talking about money.
Oh.
Often, finances are shrouded in secrecy and shame,
Yeah, that's true.
which can make it even harder to learn
Right.
and make informed decisions.
Speaking of breaking down taboos,
Yeah.
Vicki Robin has this intriguing concept of enough.
Mm-hmm.
And I love how she emphasizes that it's not about deprivation.
Right. It's not about denying yourself things.
Right.
It's about finding that sweet spot of fulfillment,
Yeah.
recognizing that more doesn't always equal better.
I think a lot of us get caught up in that consumerist mindset.
Absolutely.
You know, the constant pressure to buy more, upgrade,
Yeah.
keep up with the Joneses.
It's real.
It's exhausting.
It is. It really is.
It takes a real conscious effort to resist that.
It really does.
Yeah.
We're bombarded with messages
Rating.
that tell us happiness
Yeah.
comes from having the latest gadgets, the biggest house, the fanciest car.
Yeah.
It's like a never-ending cycle of wanting more.
Yeah,
But Robin challenges that.
she does.
She encourages us to step off the treadmill and ask ourselves,
Okay.
what truly brings us joy and meaning?
It's almost like a paradigm shift, right?
Yeah.
Moving away from endless growth and consumption and towards a more sustainable and fulfilling way of life.
Absolutely.
But how do we even begin to figure out what our enough looks like?
It's a personal journey for sure,
Right.
but it starts with understanding your values.
Okay.
What's important to you?
Yeah.
What kind of life do you want to create?
Oh.
When you're clear about those things,
Yeah.
it becomes easier to make financial decisions
Okay.
that align with your goals.
Right.
And it might surprise you
Yeah.
what you discover.
Oh, really? Maybe your enough involves more time with loved ones
Okay.
or pursuing a creative passion
Uh-huh.
or giving back to your community.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be about material possessions.
That's such a powerful reminder.
It is.
It's not about a specific number in your bank account.
Exactly.
It's about a feeling,
Yep.
a sense of alignment and purpose.
Exactly.
And I think that's what makes this whole conversation so empowering.
For sure.
It's not about following a one-size-fits-all formula.
Right.
It's about discovering what works best for you,
Yeah.
your values, and your goals.
Exactly. It's about taking control of your finances
Okay.
instead of letting them control you.
Yeah,
It's about shifting your mindset from scarcity to abundance,
I like that.
from fear to freedom.
You know what?
What's
It's
that?
also about giving ourselves permission to be imperfect.
Yeah. I was
We
talking-
don't have to have it all figured out.
Yep.
We don't have to be perfect budgeters or investors.
Yeah.
We just have to be willing to learn.
to grow and to keep moving forward on our financial journey.
Love that it's about progress, not perfection.
Yeah.
And it's about embracing the journey,
Right.
even with its inevitable ups and downs.
And if we happen to make a few mistakes along the way,
Yeah.
well, that's just part of the learning process.
Right.
Remember what Warren Buffett's banker said.
Mm-hmm.
Better to make those mistakes with a $6 allowance
Yeah,
than a six-figure salary.
exactly.
But on a more serious note,
Okay.
this deep dive has really made me think
Yeah.
about how we often treat personal finance
Mm-hmm.
as this taboo topic, something we shouldn't talk about.
It's true. And that silence can be detrimental.
How so?
It prevents us from learning from each other,
Okay.
from sharing our experiences, and
Mhm.
from seeking help when we need it.
Okay. So we've talked about understanding our relationship with money,
Mm.
breaking free from narrow framing,
Yep.
embracing the concept of enough,
Right.
and even teaching our kids about financial responsibility.
It's a lot to take in, but incredibly valuable.
And it all boils down to this. Personal finance isn't just about numbers. It's about understanding ourselves, our values, and our aspirations.
Absolutely.
It's about making conscious choices
Right.
that reflect who we are and what we want our lives to look like.
Beautifully put. It's about creating a life
Yeah.
that feels rich and fulfilling, both financially and emotionally.
So I have to ask,
Okay.
if having enough isn't about deprivation,
Yeah.
but about
Yeah.
finding that sweet spot of fulfillment,
Yeah.
what would your enough look like?
That's a great question.
That's a great answer. It really is about a feeling more than a number, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
The sense of purpose and freedom. And, that really gets to the heart of what we've been exploring in this deep dive.
For sure.
It's not about following some rigid set of rules,
Right.
but about figuring out what truly works for you.
Absolutely.
Your values, your dreams, your definition of enough. And that's what makes this whole conversation so empowering, I think.
I agree.
It's about taking ownership of your financial journey instead of feeling like you're just along for the ride.
And it's okay if that journey has some twists and turns along the way.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Remember, we're all human.
We are.
We're going to make mistakes, maybe even fall flat on our faces sometimes,
It happens.
but that's just part of the process.
Yeah, absolutely. It's how we learn and grow.
Right. And as we've discussed,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes those mistakes can be the best teachers,
Yeah.
especially when they happen early on with lower stakes.
Exactly like Warren Buffett's banker said.
Yeah.
Better to fumble with a $6 allowance than a six-figure salary.
I love that.
Yeah.
But let's not dwell on the negatives.
Okay.
This deep dive has been so inspiring.
It has been.
It's got me thinking about all the possibilities that open up
Yeah.
when we start to view personal finance not as a burden,
Right.
but as a tool for creating the life we want.
I love that perspective.
It's about shifting our mindset from scarcity to abundance,
Absolutely.
from fear to freedom.
And it's about recognizing that financial well-being isn't just about the numbers.
Right.
It's about feeling secure, empowered, and aligned with your values.
So let's recap some of the key takeaways.
Sounds good.
We started by acknowledging that fear around money is a common experience.
Definitely.
But we can break free from that fear by understanding our own psychology, challenging those short-term thinking traps,
Right.
and embracing a long-term vision.
Absolutely. We also talked about the importance of aligning our spending with our values,
Yes.
recognizing that experiences and generosity often bring more lasting happiness than material possessions.
And of course, we can't forget the wisdom of Warren Buffett's banker.
Not at all.
Encourage kids to make those financial mistakes early on
Yeah.
so they can learn and grow in a safe environment.
It's all about empowering future generations
It is.
to create a healthier, more conscious relationship with money.
And with that, I think we've reached the bottom of this financial deep dive.
Yeah, this has been great.
But before we say goodbye,
Okay.
I want to leave you with this thought.
Right.
Your financial journey is unique.
Mm-hmm.
There's no one-size-fits-all approach.
Right.
So explore, experiment, and discover what truly works for you.
I love that.
And remember, you don't have to do it alone.
You don't.
There are resources, communities, and even podcasts like this one
For sure.
to support you along the way.
Absolutely. Keep learning, keep growing, and keep striving to create a life
Right.
that feels truly abundant and fulfilling.
Yes.
After all, that's what personal finance is all about.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Thanks for having me.
Until next time, happy living.